Jack or pals. No way. No way. So yesterday, I saw something I haven't seen in a really long time. It's been about 5 years since I've caught one of these. So today I kind of want to do the good, the bad, the ugly. We're going to park out here and I'm ready for them. You know the saying, ready for yesterday, today. I got a few crabs, not that many. Yesterday I had a thunderstorm. I was going to try to get as many as I could. My first natural inclination is just do a drift with a paddle tail, right? 10, 15 feet of water, maybe a little deeper. Just drift and jig. It's kind of like what I'm imagining is going to be my final, one of my final trips to the upper estuaries, because we had some nicer, cooler weather than typical for. Got all these pogies around me for sure. Some typical June weather. So this little bait here is pogies. You might know them as bunker, menhaden, moss bunker. I don't know, every 2 states the term changes for them. I just set up my first drift kind of on the edge of them. Tons of pelicans hovering. I mean, usually it's like small bluefish are on them, occasionally drum, a shark here and there. Stingrays will be under them. But yeah. I saw those guys, I kind of stopped on them, and I didn't get a bite next to them. So let's get over kind of more structure. This might not work out though. And we're gonna just let the camera roll till we embarrass ourselves or we have a great day, whatever ends up happening out here. I'm using the electric kayak again because I'm fighting current today and I'm doing long drifts, and yeah. You know, slack tide, I'll bust out the crabs like yesterday probably. I do want to keep a couple of sheepshead. We have returned to the southwest wind corridor after today, so my my placation, I wouldn't say placation, but the days of me just enjoying some really nice and simple summer fishing are over. Marking a lot of fish though. Yesterday we had 5 sheepshead, I think. 2 red drum, 1 black drum, and yeah. And I fixed my fish finder. I bumped my transducer on my bed extender, and then that screwed it all up. A lot of times you mark sheepshead though. You work around these areas. We have a lot of sheepshead that just kind of free roam. Really hard to catch. I find that population of sheepshead to be they're hard to catch, those sheepshead, the free range sheeps. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of them. Got a 2 mile an hour drift, so it is fast. I've caught stuff in faster current than 2 miles an hour. Only thing is, yeah, wrap myself up there on the guide. I'm sure we'll see a few drum. Drum are probably thinning out though. They're gonna, water's still not quite 80, but as soon as it gets to 80, I'm done with those drum. Yeah, they're pretty much a bycatch in any deep water fishery. You don't really have to seek them out too often. They'll seek you out more or less. A lot of like branches and stuff to smack with it right now. Some juicy stuff. Oh, wow, loggerhead turtle. I see them every now and then. They don't. We've had little rain, so this year is kind of like, I'd say the last closest year I've seen this has probably been like 2022, 2021. So about 4 or 5 years ago, we had a very light rainfall year. When you find good bites, it can be really good. It's just not easy. Gosh, drop right into something there too. Yeah, it can get very difficult to find what you're looking for on the low rainfall years. A lot of the, maybe my typical spots, not all of them, but some of them can be pretty barren those years. All right, first fish. Is that my man? This is about where I saw them. This is a very fast fish. This is about where I saw them. Going up against the current. Let's cross our fingers, man. I'm so hyped after seeing those. We might see red drum, and that's okay. But man, yeah, like I said, never hurts to dream. Like I said, I didn't really have any of this stuff ready. I'm so pumped, man. I'm pumped. Pumped. What are we doing here? Yeah. Camera's not going to overheat today. Maybe pompano too. You know, they could be around right now. Black tip sharks we might see jigging around. My buddy Nolan Miner, just a little bit north of me, hooked a cobia way inshore. Not way, but he was definitely far from the inlet too. So that's what I like about those dry years. You really don't know what the fishery might throw at you. I think this is a red drum. Yeah, red drum. All right. I knew I was gonna hook a lot of these with all the bait being around. That's a very nice one. Get into this current, they can really go and go and go. This is the Fenwick HMGs I busted out. I have one of the heavier ones at the house. A little bit more suitable for that. We might have to wait for the slack tide then. Bump my camera. There we go. You tired, buddy? Try to keep those fights, you know, knowing I'm going to bump into drum under 5 minutes. They're not showing any signs of stress, but as you get up into those mid 80s, you know, you really, yeah. Something's squeaking here. I don't know if it's my... I'm gonna have to figure out what's doing that squeaking. I think it's the reel seat here. All right, you guys see him? Got him in the water there. I'm not gonna take him out of the water. We've done 100 red drum videos. 1,000 of them. Let me just pop the hook out on him. Step one though, Elias, open the bail if you're going to do that. Just get that lip gripper on him. It's a little harder in current. Sometimes I do this in the ocean. There isn't much current to work with. Here I definitely have more. Sorry, dude. Didn't mean to do that to you. So you want to just pop the bail just in case something goes wrong here. Right? This kind of Guggen kayak fishing 101. If you're fish from these plastic boats like me, last thing you want to do is get yourself in any trouble with a fish boat side. Especially these large fish, they can definitely flip you if you're not used to it. All right, let's get him. Nice shot of him there. Yeah. That's how you know the water's not too warm too. They just take off pretty good. Probably in a week or two, you start having a little more trouble getting them to swim away. All right, let me run back up for another drift and we'll make a slight adjustment where I'm fishing, but let's do another drift. Yeah, and this is how I like to find a lot of fishing spots. It's an easy way to find spots for sheepshead, sometimes flounder, drum, red drum and black drum. You just cruise around, man. When you go slow, 2-3 miles an hour, you'll definitely see a lot more stuff than you might, under faster speeds. A lot of my best spots are the most subtle things imaginable that are really easy to run over. I wouldn't say they're even my spots. There's just so much stuff, right? So that was one red drum there. All right, looks like a nice little hump right here to work. Remember the guys, and when I was in Alabama, those jacks really were heavily concentrated with the pelicans, though. But I remember seeing them you think jacks are really dumb fish? Yeah, I know when they're fired up, they're really dumb. But a lot of times, they'll show a negative mood that it's yeah, they're really not eating anything when they're just kind of chilling. But I'm watching out in the distance. There's a lot of birds dipping and hovering. You never know when they're gonna show up or something like that. And a lot of the jacks I have caught have been, jigging deeper, right? Here in Florida, all that stuff. But, it's typically they're easier to catch when you have numbers, right? We're kind of on the northern range. Hatteras gets a couple, maybe into the Chesapeake they'll get one or two, but for the most part, I'd say where I live is the northern range of the Jack Crevalle, right? More or less. I'd say our red drum fishery is fantastic, though. I remember I was looking at, before coming back out here today, I looked at just a lot of stuff from 6-7 years ago. I used to catch more upper slots and over slots on a lot of this stuff, and you're gonna find stuff eventually than I would XXLs, but that'll depend on rainfall. So probably this year there's more XXLs because there hasn't been much rain, and that'll change with the summer heat, I'm sure. But let's see if I can get my jig back. Come up the opposite direction, usually got a shot at it. And these Berkeley Fusion jig heads aren't so bad. I know it's hard to hear me when I'm running the motor and pedaling, but these Berkeley Fusion jig heads, I use them a lot in the Keys. When you could find them, they're very regularly $5 a pack, and they're pretty good. And that's a Tough Tugger, so when I get those little quick machine gun hits, I don't have to really worry about losing a tail. This is a fun place to jig, though. I do love, if I had to pick my top 3 jigging places, though, it's the Keys, the Everglades, and probably the Chesapeake Bay. Just the variety of those 3. Over here, it's still good. I think most fisheries are good. Long Island Sound, I'd say a majority of them are good. It's just some are leaps and bounds better than others when it comes to what you can catch jigging. Trying to get the right angle so you can see with me. Yeah, but at the same time, you can pretty much catch every inshore fish jigging at some point. Doesn't mean it's always amazing, but you can. All right. think towards slack, when that tide slows down, I will probably start dropping those fiddler crabs. I do need to get like 2-3 sheepshead to eat. I know I got 3 days. I'm probably just not fishing after this one. So, learned my lesson yesterday. It's a life story of fishing. Sometimes you're ready for today, yesterday. It didn't even cross my mind. When those jacks came down towards me, I literally thought gar, maybe big drum, but I was like, even that didn't get me too, or sharks. Those were the 3 things I immediately thought to myself. The idea of it being anything but those 3. And I'm regularly marking a couple fish here that aren't biting. I feel like when I mark the big drum, they bite. But yeah, I've like just done this drift now. These micro ran back up, and I marked fish 3 times in a row now, and they didn't bite. Got 1.5 mile drift, so it is quick. All right, that was something there. It wasn't big. As I get kind of towards the end of finishing this drift out, I will run up even further for the next one. We need that Spanish mackerel on the mud crab today again. So if you go back like 3 weeks ago, I was fishing around here. I did get a Spanish mackerel on a mud crab. A little tap there. Some years, these areas are just covered in flounder too, and then other years it doesn't seem like it. That predictability is that could be a little hard to figure out if there's going to be a lot of flounder. It's just some years you can't even fish this stuff. I'm picking so many of these southern flounder. The season's closed, and I'm like, yeah, I don't even want to mess with it. Like right now, speckled trout and southern flounder are closed in North Carolina and saltwater. So really, the fish you're keeping are, if you want to keep a couple fish, bluefish, Spanish mackerel. Yeah, I'm okay with, circumstances forced me to eat more bluefish than I used to, and Spanish mackerel. And what's the other one? The last one is probably red drum, but I don't really want to keep red drum. You have to go online and report them. And the big drum are fun to catch a couple. I'm not, they're pretty much, in the spring they're around, and in the fall they're around. If the presentation looks good, you hook them pretty regularly. I missed something there. But I probably had 3 bites on this drift. They all felt a little on the smaller side. Occasionally I'll hook like a striped bass somewhere randomly here too. I've only caught like 2 or 3 in that over the years doing this too. All right, let's do a little longer drift. So let's power off. That's how I'm going to do it. I might throw a line out there, but we've got 1 drum there, a couple other bites. Yeah, let's do a longer drift, see what happens. Then we'll change lures. Let's do 1 more drift with a paddle tail, and then I'll try something different. Sounds fair? Okay, I just made a slight adjustment here. Just trying to, sometimes I drop those paddle tails down and they foul up when I jig too aggressively too quickly, so I make those adjustments pretty quickly. This is a little softer zone. I don't think I'll bump into the reds here, but if I'm looking for fish cruising, should have something. Like I don't see structure here really. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it ain't there, right? This is definitely what makes this hard. When you just start doing this sort of fishing, I remember definitely fed jigs left and right into structure. back in the day. But best strategy is always opposite side. All right, got it back. Old cypress tree. I don't know if it's cypress trees or not, but some places you fish you can't avoid. Like, remember in Alabama, man, there was like some places over there that were just like every fish hit tree roots immediately. There was no avoiding. It was definitely challenging because there was so much of that stuff down there. That east wind feels amazing in June. Definitely it's picking up a little bit though. Hopefully. It's not supposed to really get over 10 miles an hour for too much today, so we'll see. Definitely have like the sweet spot there for a minute of just enough to keep everything nice and cool and comfy. Comfy, I use that word. Yeah, look at this Old Town, man. It's year 3, man. These Old Towns are so solid. People ask me about it. Like, the only reason I don't love using it all the time, it's heavier, right? It's not as easy to use on portable launches. And it's a bit more time to assemble and disassemble. Like yesterday, I didn't use it forever, and then I banged the transducer. Thought I broke it. Actually, I didn't. I re-rigged it upside down in a pinch because I had to re-rig the transducer. It was dangling down under the kayak, and then I zip-tied it to the hull. And then when I realized it when I got home, I was like, oh, I actually rigged the transducer upside down. Really, real dumb. But yeah, I do remember like seeing that, and I was like, yeah, this thing's been solid, man. Clean it when I can. I mean, not the outside, I mean the electrical components. Take good care of that stuff. So what I noticed is, a lot of times as I jig and set up a drift, if I do it right, it's not really that I'm finding magic spots. Like, fish come to me for sure. Like, you're dealing with like kind of like long passages of, you know, zones where there's probably like a fish here, a fish there. And I had a little bite there actually. And I remember that with the mutton snappers and the keys too. A lot of times it's like really finding a big ledge, and when the current was humming right, especially like somewhere around Bahia Honda where the current was really ripping, that like seemed to make a pretty big difference. Man, I'm doing pretty bad on these last couple drifts, so I'm hanging up. I haven't lost a jig head yet, but that's another one. I do leave a mark where I hang up usually, though. Tells me. Yeah, I'm gonna lose one eventually. Lost that one. Should have planned for that too. I didn't plan that well that I'm gonna lose a lot of jig heads today because I did not pack too much. All right, well, I think we would have had one jigging by now, honestly. If they were really numerous enough and wanted to eat jigs, what do I want to do? What do I want to do here? I don't know if I want to do this, but I'm curious enough about this as we wait for the tide to kind of slack out. So everybody, last time I did this video with this thing, quite a few people said I should drop shot. Well, in saltwater we do have quite a bit of current, so doing the regular drop shotting is not necessarily the easiest thing in the world because of all that current. So the fact most saltwater fish are quite aggressive too is I can get away with a little bit more of an aggressive drop shot, as in I can just use a bank sinker. Forward turn, union out, boom, cinch down. Yeah, so that gives me a little bit more flexibility. So I thought it was interesting using this thing. I wasn't blown away by it, but here we go. I don't know. I mean, those freshwater guys are crazy about them. I haven't used it enough. But let's see how it looks on a drop shot. First time trying it on a drop shot. Looks pretty good. Don't get me wrong, it still looks kind of... Probably don't need 2 ounces, but I think that's what I had at home. I shouldn't hang up much doing this, though. In theory. See, I'm just kind of rolling it along here. And I can always try a little deeper with this. Dunk down into about 20 feet. Yeah, I can get a little more aggressive working structure on the back paddle. Got to get my reverse drive back on Hobie. So Bass Pro bought Hobie out last year, somewhere last year. And I've been waiting for a new reverse drive for a long time. I hate to talk negative, but like, I think it's been 6 months since I've had no reverse drive now. And I jump on Facebook, a lot of people talk about they're waiting for their parts too. Yesterday, what we got to keep in mind though is I saw those jacks at slack tide. Came out earlier, more moving tide, thinking I might jig them, right? Because they might be a kind of an aggressive fish in that regard. I mean, they are an aggressive fish. I would think catching them on, on a pretty heavy moving tide would be a little bit more the right call. Years ago when I caught one, it was in about 20, 25 feet, so it wasn't deep. It was down deep. But I think they're just going to be patrolling anywhere the current looks and moves right. I haven't had a bite on this freaking thing. So I did miss bites on the paddle tail. This thing, the minute I put it on, I stopped getting any bites. Let me try push out a little deeper. Sometimes when you're drifting, current just shoves you in a different way every drift. This kayak's 13 feet, so it is a lot of kayaks. So holding a contour, drifting around naturally can be really hard. Every vessel does it differently. Like, this is really hard to just drift and all willy-nilly float around on a boat, 20-foot boat. That's going to be, you're getting shoved. You'll never hold the right depth very easily. I mean, you never know, but that's a hard task. Watch me get my fish on one of these dice. I don't know how I feel about these things, man. I kind of like them, but I think they're very limited. They've got a lot of limitations. The fact I haven't caught a sheepshead on one has also been a little... Is discouraging the word I want to use? Yeah, a little bit. Oh, still got hung up. Nope, got it out at least. Yeah, still got hung up. Still not completely foolproof. I guess I could, instead of trying to drift with it, I can do it kind of more like, how I fish a freaking bottom sweeper. I can just let it drift back. I've had luck drop shotting the Z-Man shrimps a couple times doing that, you're right. So let's just try that once, and then I'm going to reset this drift once or twice. Probably just would have better luck drop shotting a freaking fiddler crab, honestly. Only thing when you use these heavy weights trying to drop shot for sheepshead, you drop them 90%. Like they're, sheepshead really, as soon as they really feel a weight and you didn't get them right in the mouth on the hook set, you're going to keep dropping them. Like they want to really not feel too much weight when you're trying to jig them. I haven't had a bite on this thing. Hate to be the bearer of bad news. That might have been a fish. I mean, those little tentacles as it drifts in the current are definitely wiggling around, but it might not be enough to do anything. Like, you know, maybe the fish are just like, nah. That's not sexy enough. It's possible. It doesn't hang up too bad, at least. But yeah, I'm not even sure how to work it. It's like it's doing the hang in the current like the internet told me to. Got a Squidtrex right there. I could try that. That's what I'm thinking. I want to try next drift. Try to get this microphone out of the wind a little more. See if that helps. Alright. Thus ends the great experiment with the fuzzy dice. Alright, maybe that's going to be a slack tide bait. I don't know. Let's run back up. Try the Squidtrex next drift. I'll put a single hook on there so maybe it won't hang up too bad. Yeah, I wasn't too blown away by that. So I rigged it, I tried it, no dice. Alright, that's the furthest I'm planning on going up. This little rip here looks good for mackerel and stuff, huh? Found much milder current here, though. That's interesting, too. Alright, Squidtrex, let's see what you do. Smacked it down to the bottom. Try my best to really not lose it into anything, but a little bit of a tough guarantee. Be cool to get a black drum on it. We'll keep one of those. Black drum took a little bit of time to get here this year too, so things are off on that too. Need that Spanish mackerel again too. So tomorrow we're going right back to Southwest. We had a little unusual break for June's weather, that it was pretty mild for June. We're usually in a pretty steady southwest pattern by now. I wouldn't even be doing this time of year already at this point because it's usually already too hot. I hate southwest winds. Like you can fish like 2 hours in the morning, and then it's just like this brutal, inescapable like mugginess that comes with it. Ooh, we got something there. It feels kind of quick. We're gonna probably get some bluefish on the Squidtrex, I bet. What is it? It is a bluefish. Yummy. No, I'm kidding. So growing up, I used to eat these, called them snapper bluefish, right? And this size is pretty good, pan-fried whole. Not whole, but I usually fillet them, but you can definitely make a nice meal out of 5 of these guys. 5 of these guys. Still got the guys a little bit sometimes. Yeah, I can't imagine not catching bluefish on this Squidtrex. It's probably like a freaking bluefish magnet on that end. I got mixed feelings on this lure, man. I did a members only video and I busted off the hooks on the drum, the factory hooks. So I had a couple of assist hooks laying around the house, but it's one of these lures that it catches fish really well. But the hardware and tinkering with it, especially when you're fishing 10 to 20 foot, the sizes they offer aren't the most robust straight from the factory per se. Right. And you can jig deeper than this. The currents here are very quick. Like this, a lot of my estuaries, as soon as you get over 20 foot, It's not an easy place to at slack tide you can. Man, there's a ton of life on my fish finder. I'm not sure if that's coming up. I don't want to shift over on my left there, but a ton of life. The driest spring ever. What it does, it's hard to predict. I wonder where the, like, what's the cutoff point sometimes? You always kind of want, you can sometimes look at salinity gauges. They do publish them. They're not very good at being updated real time. That would be cool. You can even carry a little pocket salinity gauge, right? They make small salinity gauges that you can put in your pocket and read, how salty the water is. It's probably pretty useful. I hit bottom there and almost lost everything. The interesting thing though with these little Squidtrexes though, I remember using them in the Keys and dropping a lot of fish with them. We did that one video a year or two ago. I did catch a lot of fish on them though, like to catch 22, they get a lot of bites. So let's see. All right, picked a stretch here. This stretch is much slower current. Guess I should check on it too. It doesn't feel like it fouls up. Yeah, okay. This feels like one of the baits though, like when you jig it, gives you a vibration. It's so easy to know if they're fouled up or not. Paddle tails, if you're not used to jigging a paddle tail up and down, it's not that, it's a little less subtle. This I can tell. It vibrates like a blade bait. One of my favorite types of fishing to do is the blade bait jigging. Like that's considered a winter fishery, but I haven't used blade baits too often in saltwater. There's always like, from angling, it's what transcends to one fishery to another is always like, a lot of things that saltwater guys use don't get seen often in freshwater. And sometimes they're like, hey, this works pretty well. It could be just something as simple as like a shrimp profile, right? Some shrimp profiles are going to work really well. Do I have this fish on there? I think there's another bluefish. Sometimes you're like, oh, this works really well, this shrimp profile. Or maybe it's a something out of freshwater, certain type of crankbait, blade bait, for example. Yeah, it's been nice. This has been my first year of not traveling that much. I'm gonna wait till August. Is probably gonna be my first road trip. I'm usually on the road a lot. It's the life of the YouTubers. Got to go somewhere exciting and fresh for content, right? Things get stale. People get bored of your content pretty often, but at a certain point you get more bored or exhausted of needing to go produce some spectacle type content, or shake up, keep it fresh, whatever you want to call it. Eventually you just get bored. But this year it's been nice. I've been making the longer videos. They've been doing well up until about now, I'm guessing, if you're still watching. So I've been happy with that. That makes it like really refreshing and nice and fun. And I get it's not for everyone, but you put it on TV, you fall asleep to it, you check it out. Like, you might watch an hour chunk, or maybe you're really learning from it, man. I just like to know that it's working. I'm really over making spectacle content. I have been for a long time. I don't love that stuff. I really like doing something at my own pace more than anything. Or something this simple, man. We're not going to catch that many fish today, probably. Maybe at slack tide, the Sheepshead, we'll get them again. And, have a bunch of those guys. But for the most part, this is nice. I always like to do just random things that are to myself. It's probably not that interesting to the average person chasing down a bite, a big drum here and there, whatever it is. Big drum are pretty exciting. But this is a tough area to try to catch sheepshead too. I just do it because I like to learn, right? I feel like I'm learning my bodies of water I fish more. Instead of going to the spot, right? I have like, there are spots. I can always catch the maximum amount of fish, and this is definitely not one of them. But I saw those jacks. That's definitely not something, maybe I could find them somewhere else. It's possible, but I'm going right back to where I found them. You're joining me, and having that long content makes it possible. Ooh. Long form content. Other fish I could hook doing this besides those little bluefish and the red drum. Oyster toadfish can come out here. I'm surprised we can get one flounder here. Ooh. I'm expecting one, at least one. Definitely think I found some more bluefish. Yeah, those are blues, yeah. Squidtrex blues. Guess we can keep busy with a couple bluefish. Oh no, he chewed the freaking hook off. Dang. Oh, did he knock off my split ring? I thought I had that on there pretty good. Good to know. I think this one might have been me because I re-rigged that. Oh, no, okay, I see what happened. I don't even know what happened there. So he knocked the split ring off. That hook also just disintegrated off with it. That's a shame because that was working pretty well. I don't have my split ring pliers with me, do I? I have a feeling I did not bring them. Well, at least we got a little shredding going on here. See, that's the thing. I don't have like too many of these hooks at home to re-rig these things with. So they come out of the factory a certain way, and they work. But yeah, you got stuff like bluefish like that. Like I said, at least I didn't lose it. So what happened there? I don't know. Something happened there. Sure, on one of these websites, there's a how do you rig your Squidtrexes after you purchase them from the factory, because whatever factory version's no good, etc., etc. And I think I bought a bunch of them. I think I found them on sale one day. So you gotta store them in the original casing too. It's like the next thing you gotta make sure you do. Otherwise they warp up and get a little weird. Okay. So as soon as that current drops to about 1 mile an hour, I'll switch over to Sheepshead probably, but it's still a little quick. What else do I have? Got the regular paddle tails. Well, hello there. I had one Tough Tugger stuffed in the back of my milk crate there. Last Tough Tugger I have. It's like, I was, packing for my trip, and then I was like, I didn't pack anything. I just packed fiddler crabs, a jerkbait. Like, I did a pretty bad job at packing for a day of fishing. No zoom flukes, nothing to catch those bluefish for the full tide. All right, let's run back up a little bit. Found that little batch of life there. Got a Tough Tugger ready. Hopefully I don't lose this one to the ledge. All right, I was just sitting here trying to Squidtrex, and I saw something blow up just now. I think I saw my first gar of all things, though. Trying to re-rig that Squidtrex. Might have been a gar. Current's slowing down just a smidge right now. Maybe it was a mackerel. I saw something jump. Looked like it was a decent sized fish. Whatever it is, I got a bunch of them under me. I guess it wasn't a mackerel. Going backwards. Oh my goodness. I said I was trying my hardest to re-rig that Squidtrex. Got the split ring back on. Pretty glad I didn't drop the Squidtrex down there. I saw a blow up. I guess it was one of these drum. It looked like something slurped off the surface. And don't forget those bluefish and the drum, they always work together. And these Fuegos, for what you're paying for them. Might have to stop putting stuff on the bottom though. It's a hard resistance for me to do. But for the fact if I do want to get one of these jacks somewhere, I don't want to mess with on the bottom. Well, it's a smaller red actually. I wouldn't say a small one, but this is actually a bit more of a typical summer size one, right? Just barely over slot. That's pretty cool. And this is typically what it starts seeing right about by this time of year more. This might even be a slot to keep. But I'm guessing he's just a bit over. Okay. I also need to clear off. I got my jerkbait tangled up there. Just kind of curious, is this a slot where I do sometimes like to get a good pulse of what types and sizes sometimes the fish are. I mean, he is folded up. I'm guessing, okay, if you unfolded his tail properly, he's probably about 30 inches. So just over a slot, I would say. Okay, let's see. I created myself a little, what's the word I want to use? A fluster cluck. Okay, got that done. I was literally, gosh, had the camera off at that point. I was headed back up to where I was getting a couple bites earlier. But I was really, since I don't have many lures with me, because I'm a dope, I chopped up that drop shot rig, and now I'm trying to re-rig my Squidtrex, just in case I have to go home with bluefish today. I do want to make fish for dinner, like twice a week. It's my gains, bro. And I couldn't do it moving. I don't know. I'm concerned. I'm kind of suspecting I misrigged that last one. Anyway. All right, we're on a good start though. On a ripping tide, we got 2 reds, a couple bluefish. All right, let's try one more time, guys. Get my fingernail in there. I'm gonna have to do this at home. But even though it's not an inline, it'll still do the trick. Before inlines existed, there was, people did them on the regular sidewash hooks. Gosh, almost got it, almost got it. These freaking tentacles of the squid get in the way. This is torture. How did that? I must have rigged it poorly that it just popped off the actual. Because this split ring is not a cheap one. I was wondering if I put a cheap split ring on here. Let me see if I can get it with this pair of pliers to get back on there. I have a feeling I'm going to need this today. I just have this gut feeling that I need to be ready with my Squidtrex for the day. What was that? See, I'm not looking down and I heard a huge pop. It's definitely a fish. Oh man, I suck. Can't get it on there. Got it on the freaking back on the Squidtrex. Now it's just getting my freaking fat nail in there. All right, if I break my nail, I break my nail. All right, Squidtrex. If we're on our last lure, we'll re-rig it, but I'm wasting time. We got other options still. This jerkbait. Got that rigged up. Not too much else. You have a jerkbait ready to go. All right, I'm gonna stop somewhere around here. Last batch of fish I marked. Dude, make some blind casts with the jerkbait. See if we get anything on that. I think that was a red drum, I guess, while I was trying to re-rig. Wish I had some extra pair of freaking pliers to work on that. I mean, we get gar in these areas too, pretty common, but I don't know. Something tells me that was not a gar. We are dropping down in current. I'm gonna start doing the fiddler crab thing then. Maybe it's slack tide. I'll really re-rig properly. Anything, I think this is a Yozuri 3DS minnow. This dives maybe 3-4 feet, so I shouldn't be hooking any drum at like 10-12 feet of water on it, unless they're really fired up and cruising up high in the water column hard. Surprised we haven't seen a ladyfish yet too. The jacks are around. Usually the ladyfish are like the first big summer arrivals. Nope, not a bite yet on this. Other thing I could have done, honestly, if I didn't even come with enough. Yeah, I got a bunch of fish under me here. I don't know what these are, but if I even came with enough freaking jerk baits, it's probably come with some live bait, like float one of those small bluefish or croakers, something like that. Yeah, I'm gonna try to avoid dropping anything to the bottom, besides a fiddler crab, but this is kind of the last zone I hooked some reds, so I'm guessing they are somewhere here still. A little pause, right? I could do a pause. funny is around here where I live, a lot of fisheries you could do this and you get a lot of speckled trout in the middle of summer and spring. Like they're really roaming all willy-nilly. Around here it doesn't seem like there's too many speckled trout to catch doing these sorts of techniques. Especially over like 10 foot of water. Find some current seams and you can really find a lot of trout. I'm sure maybe there's a few, but it seems like other bigger things push the trout around here. Big gar, red drum, jacks, sharks. The trout don't really like to frequently use our deeper water here. All right, did a nice long drift. Fan casting, blind casting that 3DS minnow. I know it's not getting down that deep, but like I said, I know if I start messing around too deep, I'm gonna get those drum and not the jack. Got a goal for today, man. I got a goal. But, the reality is I might not even see them again today. The other reality is every cast I'm getting fish following this jerkbait all the way back. I'm amazed those bluefish haven't eaten this. Right, because I got a bunch of those blues earlier. All right, definitely exhausted that option. Should I drop my first fiddler crab down? I think I'm tempted to drop the first fiddler crab down. See if we can get something in the cooler, sheepshead or something like that. Got plenty of bottom sweeper jigs and not that many fiddler crabs. And yeah, let's see. Don't mind the Guggen. Okay, it's a 1/2 ounce sweeper. And just crack that shell a little bit. All right, let's see if we get a sheepshead or two at least. As we enter near slack at least. Wind's going good. I picked the right spot today. That's all I know. So I'm trying to figure out what's the current doing. It's kind of pulling out this way. Weird. It's definitely got a weird part of the tide right now. Let's see if I can get a sheepshead or two. Missed something there. This is about where I had a few yesterday. Getting a couple bites. It's a game of somewhat patience. Getting bites, I know that. I've also got a very bizarre setup of current. How should I say? The jig is going against. I don't know. Got 3 currents moving or something like that. Not 3, but. Alright, I'll make a little move. I don't think I'm kind of missed the mark where I dropped just now. I know I had a few bites, so. Okay, let's try that again here somewhere. Uncut sheepshead fishing. I'll put you to sleep. If you're still watching, I'm happy you're with me. I'm not giving up hope looking for that big jack, though. I'm just waiting. I heard a big pop out there in the distance. Okay, it was a pelican diving. I heard 2 big blow-ups as I was goofing around earlier, though. However, the current is working where I'm trying to fish is really making it difficult. I'm going to run further up then. Really difficult right here. There's definitely a few fish down there, though. And sheepshead roam. Like, these are one of those zones, too, that the sheepshead really do roam a lot, so you don't get them. It's not really I'm looking for a spot. I'm looking just, yeah, forever. All right, let's keep looking then. Definitely don't want to waste my fiddler crabs till I'm on a bite. Here we go again. Maybe now. I've got kind of, oh man, I hate to say it. I might be starting to develop the first signs of carpal tunnel. Like there's a small amount of tingling happening and gotta look into it a little bit. I just started noticing it pretty recently. It's not painful, it's just, you know, it feels like I slept on my hand weird. You know, when you fall asleep on your hand? Oh my gosh, we got it. It's 30 minutes later. Yeah, I know it's not the perfect position. Oh no, I rigged it upside down too. Well, hopefully I won't need to bust this out, but it's ready if I run out of everything else. All right. I haven't seen any sharks up here yet. I mean, I'm sure there's a few. This is it. It's like my grand hurrah of the... We're still gonna be fishing, but like this is like my mental last day of spring fishing. It's not the true last day of spring fishing, but we're on borrowed time of nice, cool spring weather. That's where I really feel. It ain't gonna last that much longer. Real bizarre. I'm drifting faster than the current is pushing me. Probably easier to try to jig than work this crab per se, but let's give it a minute. It spun around in circles. I got a bunch of fish under me. I hope these aren't more drum. I'm gonna mark this though. That looks like a nice structure. Nice ledge structure there. That's sheepshead. Nice. Yeah, there's one. These are the free roamers, right? Just drifting that crab along and working my way through. Get in here. Splashed me pretty good. Yeah, those are the free roamers. They're hard to intercept though. You know, if you ever see them, you could see them on the flats sometimes when they're roaming around. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely a different way to sheepshead fish. I mean, beating on the same fish that 100 people have been. And minimum size is 14 inches these days, which does cause a Facebook ruckus. I get, more government anything is always you never want to see that, but okay. I'm gonna keep like 2. This guy's about 18 inches. Maybe 3. And a bag of ice here. Making a mess, man. How did all that ice melt that quickly? Alright, we're gonna bleed them out. That's perfect size for this cooler. This cooler can't hold too many fish, but this cooler is kind of perfect for one day. One day of fishing, I'd say. Okay. And just keep it up here. I've got a bunch of other fish under me here. I'm guessing. Let's get that out of the way, actually. I'm marking some fish here too. Oh, let's drop back down. Definitely saw a pretty steady wave of fish for a moment there. Not seeing them anymore though. Okay. Call their name in with the little crab action, Summer sheepshead fishing now. A lot of summer fishing comes down to sheep these days. I think there's so many sheepshead that just very rarely get to see a rod and reel. They're just so difficult to target. It's coming from somebody who targets a lot of sheepshead or has targeted them. I find that they are incredibly difficult to get on and stay on, and yeah. Some real wizardry happens to get on some of these fish. And in general, you're probably hooking 5 fish to 1 fish to 5 you're showing your bait to, and swing and a miss kind of thing. I'll just sit here. I know those drum could be out here too, they'll follow. They like that commotion from other fish too. A lot of times you might drop on sheepshead first, and then out of nowhere just a wad of big red drums show up. You're like, oh, what the? That's not what I signed up for. Very frequently. Speaking of which, yep. Told you. I was like, well, I'm just doing one thing. I found a sheepshead first, and these guys are gonna show up and push them out. So probably that means to get more sheep, I'm gonna have to relocate. Unless I got that bonnet head shark. We haven't caught one of those in a few years too. I was thinking about that guy. At least I got dinner here. Come on. I'm pretty tight on this drag. It's hard to tell how much drag I got on a fish, but I got a lot. My arms are feeling it, man. 2 days of this. Ugh. Let's get the sound effects going. Ugh. Gotta start watching out for sharks too. Probably any day we're gonna see them. A couple of them. Got a guide going by us. I'm gonna open up my bail. Pretend I don't know what I'm doing. Hate doing that, but sometimes that is necessary. I don't do it very often, but I'm just like, la la la, no fish on here. It's the reality. Just la la la, la la la. All right. Make it look like I'm stuck in the bottom. Oh man, he's looking at me, he's looking at me. Yeah, I think I blew my cover, man. That's all right. Try not to be that elitist guy, but that is what it is. All right. Yep, he definitely saw me hooked up with this fish. That's all right. That's old drum. Okay, good. That's all right. Let's see, he should do fine. All right, found a bunch of drum. Keep looking. Maybe you didn't see. Sometimes I get paranoid though. I see a lot of guides, they hide their fish, and yeah, like I said, not sure. All right, I want to get away from those reds and troll around a little bit. Yeah, they pretty much bully those sheepshead right off that spot though. Trolling the 3DS minnow now, meaner. I think I literally just saw those jacks coming down, and that's it. You get 1 day of that, and then you're gone, the word I want to use. Not really gone, but they ain't there. They ain't here no more. I'm amazed I couldn't pick up a bluefish on any of this stuff. Trolling around this 3DS minnow. So I'm pushing further away from where those red drum are. Trying to find something different. All right, I've been fishing for what, almost an hour and a half now. I'm on 2 drum, 3 drum, a couple bluefish. It's not too bad. I'm going to push up even further this drift. So those drum were back there. They usually move in schools. Had a bite there. I think it was something small, but actually had a little bump on that crystal minnow. It's so crazy. I'm thinking about when I troll these lures in the Keys, like, I can't keep, you know, even the bottom fish come up and smack. Like, those drum are really not coming off the bottom too much. All right, somewhere here I think I want to stop. Well, this jerkbait just doesn't get bit here. I could keep going further up, but let's see. This is a little bit further than where it was earlier, and if the reds are still going to be a problem, I'll keep moving. Bring back bluegill fishing, you're probably saying right now. You're like, yeah, this is cool, but you know what? I think I like watching you bluegill fish more. If the weather was cooler for a little bit longer, I would be doing the bluegill stuff too with you. All right, let's see if anything's up here. I ran another at least 300-400 yards away from those red drum, so as I said, this year is definitely an exception that there's more of those than I've ever seen, probably. But I know from people who fish other spots, fish for them in other spots, they're not there. So follow that salinity line where the bait is a little bit, so that's going to change where they're at. Okay, I think I got something looking at my jig here. My crab. Need that. Nolan, where's that cobia? Got no idea how bad I want it. Still not caught an inshore cobia here. Only in Tampa Bay. So I'm like, that's definitely like, if I can pull that off, that's a dream catch for me still. Inshore cobia. I haven't caught a triple tail in a few years too. That's the other fish I'm thinking about now. Marked a few fish, but then I didn't get a bite. Let me see. Staying away from that area where there's a trillion red drum. Drop a little bit deeper. Yeah, yesterday I didn't see too many reds. I think today there's a lot more of those around. Like that east wind. I dropped into 16 feet, so I'm fishing a little deeper right now. Let's see what happens here. I think the oyster toadfish. We don't need him, but I feel like he's got to have a mandatory appearance. There he is. I think he did show up just now, though. Get a couple bites here. real scattered. Come on. I think I got some sheepshead messing with me, something like that. Maybe just croakers. I don't think it's just croakers doing that though. I got like 2-3 bites here, nothing came of it. We were all croakers. Also got this wind pushing me deeper than before, making it a little harder. But the way the wind's working, it's now pushing me into some really deep water. I'll try the deep water, I don't know. Oxygen's not bad at all right now, so could be some fish in 20, 30 feet. Crazier things can happen than that. Getting a lot of quick, sharp taps, and it's leading me to think it's all small croakers. There's much less structure here where I decided to set up for this part of the tide, but just lost a crab finally. Okay. Pop, pop. It takes 5 seconds, right? When you think you're on the bite, you're pretty quick with it. All right. It's that wind direction, yeah. It's pretty nice out, man. A little cloud cover. It's like other times of year, this weather pattern really sucks. But when you get in the summer, you're like, oh, hell yeah, a little east wind. Because, you know, all fall you're stuck in perpetual northeast winds sometimes, and it can suck. Right? It doesn't always lead to the best fishing when it's all fall. I think I just dropped into a freaking crater of some sort. Gotta figure out how to position. Let me reel up. Yeah, this is sometimes the trickier parts of kayak fishing and trying to set up on a little nook or something like that. The wind's doing one thing, current's doing another thing. I hit the point of the tide. Right now it's definitely a wind against tide situation. And I'm not seeing any more surface life either. I think my jack dream is slowly dying today. It's still all right. We had a pretty good day overall, so. Oh man, more. Nope, I don't think that one's who I think it is actually. It definitely had the quick sigh when I set the hook, but that is a good sized sheepshead. Hey. Let him pull some drag. You're right, I should let him pull a little bit. Okay. I want to keep one more. Okay, let's keep one more. So I'm gonna keep 2 for the day. Limit these days is 5. It's another decent one, 20 incher or so. You can keep 2. All right, 2 sheepshead. Get my stuff organized back here. These fish probably showed up, I don't know, I'm gonna guess like 2 weeks ago tops. They generally don't, what should I say? They generally have a weird first month movement, in my opinion. Like they're just not everywhere you'd think they might be, etc. So. I'm gonna be home for a bunch of days, so. All right, next fish we keep is something real special. It's gotta be real special. Okay, gotta reorganize back here. All right, did it. This way I don't have to look at my blood oil. Poor sheepshead blood. And yeah, especially when those fish just show up, I'm a little more inclined to keeping a few. They spend all winter out in the ocean. They're not legal. They're not resident fish. Like red drum, especially red drum, are typically pretty residential at their slot sizes. So, not sure if they're kind of contaminated or not, those red drum. But sheepshead are generally, when they study them, it seems like they're on the lower end of the contaminated fish list. All right. Same thing, little fiddler crab. I break off the claw. I like to just pinch the side of the shell, and we just drop it down. Do I like it? I do prefer to eat flounder over sheepshead, but these days you can't really choose that anymore. Sheepshead are pretty good though. Like there's nothing wrong with sheepshead. Speckled trout this time of year, they don't, very hit or miss. Sometimes if they'll be pretty good, but then I've had times where they're just like really, they weren't feeding on the right thing, they just didn't taste right. Check this camera lens too. On a wipey wipe, we're good. Yeah, 5 is your limit, but one thing I do think, in my opinion, they don't freeze that well. I prefer I'd say who freezes well. Grouper freezes well. Flounder freezes pretty well too. But I'm curious of my theory, that the red drum are going to just show up and bully me off this next hole I found with some sheep. Well, it sounds crazy, but that's my theory. Those red drums show up, they're like, oh, yeah. I think that was another one. I really think that was another drum. Yeah. Maybe not. I heard some big pops behind me, so we gotta pay attention. Oh, yep. Told you. It's definitely a red drum. Like 99.9% sure. Another batch of them just showed up. Said, hey, you're catching fish there? Let me see that fit. Let me see that crab you're throwing. Let me see that crab you're throwing for a second. I think that was. He swam up against the current. This is about when I saw those big jacks yesterday, so let's start. Keep your eyes peeled. It's cloudier today though, so it's a little more stressful on your eyes. Not quite as easy. I guess gar is the other one, right? They could always be blowing up. Sometimes the gar get really aggressive if there's a lot of surface bait, but it's not all the time. It was just about this time of day when I was just goofing around with crabs though, right? I remember that. Oh, maybe not. Something grabbed my crab there. Felt them. I'll tell you what's actually hasn't really shown up in any reasonable numbers is the pinfish. I'll make this really hard, really fast. They don't seem to be in crazy numbers yet this year. Not here, at least. A little bite there. Maybe that was another sheepshead. I'm glad that the red drum have not come en masse on me. That was just now was 100% a sheepshead. But yeah, I was worried that mega school was gonna just show up and. Be happy with catching a big black drum too. I haven't caught one of those in a couple of years. Last year I got one, maybe, I don't know, 30 inches. Not a big one, but 20 pounder probably. A bunch of birds working. I'm watching to see if there's anything gonna happen with them besides. See all those birds working on that? Haven't seen anything up top. What do we do here? Seems like I lost the bite at slack tide here. I know I can't go back down because those where those reds are. Right? I don't want to really be hooking too many more of them. So we're just kind of waiting for something here. Beautiful day out here, though. Uh-oh. think he found me. Maybe not. Okay, I just got one sheep there, and I've had like one or two other bites here. I'm busy now. I'm just daydreaming looking at these birds working the shoreline. I don't know if I want to leave this and go check them out. It could just be some small baits. Uh-oh, lost a crab there actually. All right, let's cruise around a little bit, see what we find. Maybe cruise to some different zones. I don't know. I'm not going to cruise too much further, but need you to tell me what you see here. Yeah, I'm seeing those birds dipping, but I haven't seen anything up top. I'm not leaving like a productive zone, and this is where I saw these fish yesterday. I just need to see one blow up though, yeah, and that'll give me confidence to leave where I'm at. Speaking of that, I just saw a bunch of fish I haven't dropped a crab on yet though. Oh yeah, we got a bunch of something here. Bunch of somethings here. Dropped into something right away, but maybe not. I'm on the water. Don't call me when I'm on the water. Phone's ringing, distracting me there. All right, let's see here. So far I've been fishing pretty shallow. I might just, towards slack, start fishing a little deeper. Dropping into like, you know, closer to 15, 20. Or I go to the fuzzy dice for slack, right? Next thing I could do. Got a little bite here. A couple little boom, boom. Someone punched my crab once. Hour number 2. So I think I'm sitting on slack tide now. Pretty much slack. Seems like the sheepshead aren't biting anymore. I'm sure those reds will bite on slack if I go look for them, but I don't know, I might have to try the jerk bait again. I don't know, thinking about it. Definitely almost got hung up there. I felt myself hitting something there. Surprised we didn't get any toads. Oyster toad's been MIA. Let's see here. Yeah, I could go cruise up a little bit further up. All right, I'm drifting down into 16 feet now. Let's see if there's anything different here. Down deeper, deeper, deeper. Yep, down deep. Might be where I pick up a black drum or something too. I got myself hung up into play with fire. Gonna find out. All right. Got back. Did I lose, what, 1 jig today so far? That's not too bad. For structure fishing, yeah, that's pretty good. I'd say. Alright, now I'm paying attention. I'm looking up top this whole time now. Alright, a little crab fun here, but let's start throwing some lures blindly a little bit. Could always go back to crabbing up. And go back to this jerkbait. Another wave of the jerkbait fishing. Throw it every direction. I'm just shocked those bluefish. I was catching a couple of them on the Squidtrex. They're not eating this jerkbait at all. I mean, they are small, I get it, but this was showtime, man. It's exactly when I saw them yesterday, so I'm gonna commit to it for a moment. Half-mile-an-hour drift. These things were cruising and looking to eat. I'd hook one. Wow, these are like the perfect conditions for something to show up top here. All right, let's do some slow trolling, see if we see anything. See some big schools of bait. All right, kind of stopped where I was yesterday. I do know they were falling down this contour quite a bit, though. Working their way down the contour, rather. All right. By the power of Grayskull, I'm gonna drop a fiddler crab. Back down. It's like, you know, how long do you wait to catch nothing? I'm like looking, you know, is there something really subtle somewhere there? That might be a school of bait up in front of me. I'm gonna throw it right there once. Nah, I feel like trying to catch him blind might not be the move. I don't know. I'm all over the place mentally right now with this pursuit. Do have a tugboat coming. Maybe that's going to be what we need. Usually that's not the answer, but the tugboat might be enough to change a thing or two. All right, drop the little Tough Tugger back down now for around slack. All right, tried that for slack as well just now. All right, I think maybe the drum are not around wherever I'm fishing now. It might have moved off, which is probably better. Give me a chance if I see something else. See some pogies jumping in the channel here. All right, went back to the fiddler crab just now. Let's see. I'd say in general those sheepshead don't bite all that well at slack tide though. I like a little bit of moving current. You can still pick them here and there on slack, but for the most part, moving current's always good for them. Okay, let's see what we get here. Had my first bite. Fiddler crabfish. Getting kind of tossed around a little bit in this current too now. All right, I'm getting cleaned off really quickly now. I wonder if these are some new fish that showed up, maybe croakers, I don't know. What's bumping my fiddler crabs right off? It could be these smaller sheepshead too. Slack tide, different type of fish starts biting, right? Sure, what's gonna happen though? You get like those smaller bites and then the big drum's gonna be like, yo, let me get one of those crabs. All right, where's our boy the black drum? We haven't seen any of those yet today. All right. Oh, yeah. It's a pretty nice fish. Sheepshead, nice one. Oh, you're gonna go back. A little bit more length, this would have been a citation. Real fat, healthy one there. Sorry, dude. Come on, let me grab you. Yeah. Cool. All right, at least that fish was really hard to hook. I'm gonna tell you that part. Like, he was messing with that fiddler crab and just, I missed him. Hooked him straight up and down too. It's third sheepshead. Not too bad. Getting another one right here. They bite at slack tide, but they get really hard to hook on slack, in my opinion. They're biting it right now even. This is when I'm going to see those jacks again. Well, at least I got something for them. All right, screw it. We know I can catch a sheepshead. I'm going to do it one more time. By the power of Grayskull. We got COVID lures, right? That's what these little fuzzy nuggets look like when the coronavirus. If I catch only red drum on them, so be it. I will be at peace. That I picked a real fishy day to round out my fuzzy nugget experience. Just glop it up in that blue crab like that. Bloop, 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 bloop. And let's drop it down. We're pretty much slack tide, so I can work this goofy thing properly right now. Probably won't last long, but got a couple minutes of it. We'll see if these reds show up and start killing them. I'm just tapping it on the bottom here. Free drift tap. And my first bite. Let's see if I get another one. I could bet those sheepshead will pull on those little strings though. They're kind of a cautious fish. They rarely go for the kill immediately, if that makes sense. Little tap there. All right, I'll keep searching just a little bit more then. Yeah, man, this is all I got with me. Got the COVID lure. It's a 1/8 ounce jig with me. Yeah, ain't too much I brought with me. I got a bunch of fish here. Let's see what these are. All right, now we're seeing slack tide as you see, can be weird, right? And pick up fish here and there. I'm resorting to gimmicks. Haven't seen anything up top in a minute. I saw like 1 or 2 splashes today. I did see 2 blow-ups. Probably both gar, but you do never know. I think I already got the tide turn today, which beat yesterday this time. Yeah, the tide already turned. I could see that. Little COVID lure. All right, wind dropped out, got hot. Something ate my freaking little round ball down there. Maybe I should take this little round ball and throw it in the grass for a full day. I bet I'll catch a lot of flounder on it. You know, it just looks like one of these lures that's pretty good looking flounder lure overall. So what happens at slack though with the reds, they do typically just sit somewhere pretty stationary, so you won't catch them unless they're, you know, as often. They do tend to roam a lot less on slack tide, so it might be good on that. I'm just looking up top to see if I see anything pushing water again. So I'm a little more comfortable right now for that slack of not smashing red drum left and right. It's fuzzy to now. Don't seem like a fish catching machine to me here in saltwater. What I'll do is, tide starts going now. I think I had to be ready, you know, today, yesterday. That's the way it goes sometimes, man. You see things every now and then that you just will never see again. Or, you know, maybe I just need a different set of circumstances. But we'll see jacks again at some point in our life. I'm sure about that. At least we'll more than likely see some 20, 30 pound jacks at some point again in life. So optimistic about that at least. Hey, there's no flounder over here. Going through a big school of something. These might be those drum, I'm thinking. Couple boat wakes going by. No fish biting. Alright, I gave this like 10 minutes. I didn't get a bite on that either. Ooh. Alright, let's try to find one last new drop. Something like that. That's what I'm thinking. Alright, I'm looking, I'm cruising up top. That was, there's something there. There's something there, guys. I think I don't know what it is, but it's pushing water and I have no idea. I still got a visual on. I think that was a gar. Yeah, it was a gar. All right, well. Captain Salty here is trying to find something that's not a little sheep's head. Got some bad news, the tide turned. I think. Therefore ending my opportunity at what I saw yesterday at least. That being said, I think I found some more sheep's head at least. These guys are being real fickle. Yeah, a gar. That was a gar just now. They're really active fish on slack tide typically. Feels like I was getting a few bites. Yeah, that's a gar, not a... jack, no way. Actually, I see a lot less gar than I typically do this time of year around these places. It's been a little bit of afternoon rains here and there, but nothing crazy. Yesterday I got downpoured on. Big cloud of bait under me here. Pogies. All right, let's keep cruising a little bit then. All right, cruising now, kind of through these zones. Still got some outgoing current though. It's just there's a mishmash because of some wind moving against the tidal. You know, the typical tidal movement makes it a little trickier. Tricky is the word I want to use. I'm hopefully going to figure this out. Nah, I never saw a blow up on the surface to any extent though. Overall, it's the last thing I saw today. I think maybe I saw one, but I've seen a few gar. That also tells me there's, you know, that stuff's going on. Ooh, got a bite there. Alright, let's keep looking a little bit, guys. Last stop. Last stop before I working my way back. I start working my way back down. Stopped on some pogies here. Just a little chunk I haven't fished yet. Hooked up. I found a little chunk there, didn't I? I was like, oh, this looks really good. I can stop here quick and call it a day on this guy. Nope. Lost one jig at least. We know that. All right. It's no big deal. So we only lost what, one jig today? That's not one bottom sweeper, one paddle tail jig head. Not the worst. Probably gonna wrap this up in 30 minutes or so. I know I could catch more big drum, but I decided to give it one more day to come back out here. Try to get one of those jacks. But you know. Got the treatment, you know? Got the fish treatment today. absolutely in shock of the fact I couldn't catch a bluefish on a on that Yozuri 3DS minnow. But hey. Just goes to show you, man. Goes to show you. How I wish we had more weather like this in June, though. Right? It's just not really overheating too much. Real comfortable. Some years you get some nice east winds in August. Some years you do get some decent east winds in August and things are pretty mild overall. But I'd say for the most part it is usually very warm. Now I'm getting there is this period where there's a lot of cross currents. That's the easiest time I always find to get snagged up versus having like a straight one directional current. Freaking structure here is wicked. This wicked bait. Found myself dropping into who knows what down there. Bottom's really snaggy. All right. Oh, I was hoping to see them today, but you know what? You're looking for those unicorn fish. It's not always that easy. Big school pogies here. I made a drop here, kind of a little bit of a random spot, I'd say. A couple small bites. Pelican diving. I didn't see any pelicans doing anything yesterday. Could round it out on a couple more sheepshead. I think I know where to drop this crab for the rest of those, but just kind of exploring some new chunks here. See if there's anything on them. All right, let's hit a couple spots on the way in quick. I think that's gonna close the chapter there. Close it up. That looks pretty good here. I just made a stop. Kind of like how that contour looked like it was forming up a little bit. No, all right, let's keep going. Hang on. All right. Turn of the tide. You know they're going to be hungry right now. Well, I had a bite there. Let's see. It's gonna be the last crab here, I think. Maybe I have one more. Wish I was able to get more, but well, I think that's the final one. Final crab, bring us luck. There's a lot of small stuff. Slack tide. Can't get any more bites here, man. Slack tide. Now the change. Not coming very easily. I think these fish did like a soft shutdown for slack. Sometimes it's kind of common where they just get so finicky. Run up just a couple feet shallower and see one last thing there. Definitely marking a lot of fish here, so I don't know. It's pretty hard to figure out some days. It's definitely not a long slack today, right? That was pretty quick. But now it's like there's this huge, like, I guess, readjustment period. Nothing's really biting. Yeah, like I was catching a lot of fish in a couple of these zones earlier. I know that. But now they're just like not really biting. All right, we got a bite here. Small one. Uh-oh. I think we knew we'd see one more of these probably. At least one more, rather. Feels like a very big one, man. Oh, oh man. Hey, fiddler crabs, man. It's crazy that you can get bites like this on fiddlers. Bet you Goliaths will eat fiddlers too, right? Man. This is a red drum. It's definitely doing a little bit of a different fight on me. Oh, maybe I'm going to have a black drum on the end of my line here. All right, out of the way, we got them coming up. Put the screws to this one. I think it's another red, yeah. Whew. Arms are killing me. Got caught on my leg, man. That spool. Ugh. Tighten up a little bit. If we lose him, we lose him. Come on. Almost. There we go. Lots of over spots, man. Right. This is the last fiddler crab. Drum had the last laugh on that, I guess. All right, last thing we'll do is try the Squidtrex, see if we catch anything funny on that, and call it a day. I'd say I had probably, I don't know, what did I catch? 3 sheepshead, maybe 4. 4 drum. I didn't break a fish off today. No breaking off. You know. All right, we're retying this Squidtrex on now. It's got the wrong hook, but I'm more just curious to see what I might hook that I'm missing. I feel like, you know, even if I open up another split ring on a bluefish, I'm still kind of curious. And we're gonna wrap it up after that. Not sure if this is an overrated lure or a really good lure. All right, 1 drip with the Squidtrex, and time to hit the old dusty trail. I added some of the Procure. This is the Procure shrimp. They have some squid scent, I think, coming out of the package, but I think that's probably mostly gone by now. And we're looking for our friend up top. This thing gets a lot of bites though, man. Like, that's one thing I really notice about these Squidtrexes, though, that they get hit often. Spanish mackerel, bluefish. That was a bluefish, I think. Croakers, pretty much everything that swims does hit these things. I don't know if they get hooked up very often, but probably a good pompano lure actually too. All right, let's see what that is. Oh yeah, the croakers like them. Foul hooked croaker. That's what those red drum are chomping on primarily, is my guess. Peaceful day. Had the fish to myself. It's always nice. I think that's going to be the thumbnail. It's almost like an ironic one, right? Uncut, jigging a Squidtrex. I don't know about that, actually. That's part of the YouTube game, is your thumbnail game on point. I tried the viral Squidtrex today. And honestly, if I had my own proper hooks for it, I probably might have caught a couple more fish on it, honestly. I don't know, I don't hate it. I don't think I'd ever pay full retail price for it. That's like the influencer secret, right, amongst us. If you fish a lot and you lose a lot of jigs, I did lose a decent amount of lures today. Not an insane amount, but I definitely lost some. You know, you're probably not gonna want to go through too much tackle overall. Sheepshead don't eat these things either. Doesn't seem like they do. Or a drum wolf. It looks like the type of lure I think a gar would eat too, man. Those gar can get really, they like those little trap magnets and the gulp minnow, like 2-3 inch baits. 40-inch gars, like I'll eat that. They'll kill big baits too, but in terms of artificials, every gar I've hooked that's been big has been on like the tiniest little bait imaginable. And usually the biggest gar do get into these brackish waters. Like they'll really look for the real baits, like those menhaden, and they like those things. Pogies, etc. Might have found some bluefish here. There's been a lot of smaller bluefish though. Overall, like, sorry, didn't mean to bump the microphone there. Overall, there has been a lot of smaller bluefish the last year or two. The eating size, more than ever. But the bigger ones seem to be kind of getting a little more rare overall. Again, it seems like it's like 2 years, it looks like there's like, oh look, there's more big bluefish. And then it never gets quite to what it was 5 years ago with those things. And then after that, it's like, oh, I haven't seen a big bluefish in 3 years now. So it's like the up cycles just aren't as up as they were at one point. Kind of blah, 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 anecdotal. I drifted down into 20 feet here. I'm not getting any bites out here deep today. It's not to say that really deep stuff doesn't have fish. It's just like, it's not consistently a fish holder, attractor, whatever you want to call it. If I had to put my sweet spot, it's always 10, 15 feet. It's kind of like big fish land. 25 sometimes though, 25 to 30. It definitely has its moments. What's interesting too is when I read about salinity, the saltier water is going to be on the bottom for the most part. I'm guessing it's probably pretty uniform right now though. It's not like there's been any massive changes like that. All right, let's try one drift in one new spot we didn't drift through today, and then let's call it a day. Caught a lot of fish, covered some new water, but this is it. This chapter of the year is done. Yep. Kind of close the spring chapter on one thing. Now we're kind of closing the spring ultralight chapter. I closed it on one thing, and now I close the, kind of some of the spring jigging for the drum. Probably I won't touch drum till fall for sure. So at least 3-4 months. And the only reason I really put this effort and all this extra show on is really wanted to catch one of those jacks, man. I really did. Haven't caught one here in like 4 or 5 years now. I hooked one last year actually on the ocean front. Lost him. So it's been a minute. Do see them though every now and then. Yeah, we're gonna make one last drift now and call it a day from there. Sheepshead, that's probably gonna be most of the summer until flounder opens up, our 2-week flounder season in North Carolina. I'm gonna be on the road, I think in August for a little bit. So that's the next plan too. I will be on the road in August for a little bit. And we'll see what type of fishing I do. If the long videos keep doing well, I'll do all sorts of interesting long cuts of ultralight in areas I've never tried. Just lots of trying new spots. It all ends up being how well they, unfortunately, quite a bit of my fishing does sometimes get dictated by what's going to provide some income. It's a compromise, right? Your passion project versus reality. That's the way the world works, right? Even when you turn your greatest love into income, you still kind of have to make compromises, right? I've been now self-employed, YouTube, YouTuber. I think I'm coming up on year 7. I mean year 8 since I've been making YouTube videos. I don't know about full time, but probably close to year 8 full time. Granted, don't forget, for the first few years, without old YSU fishing paddle tails, this wouldn't have worked for sure. So it wasn't full social media. That wasn't where all my cards were in for a very long time. At first, it was more, for sure, it was a lot more product. But the last 2-3 years, I don't know, maybe even 4 or 5 years, that stuff's super important for me. But doing a little bit more of the digital ad revenue side of life, I would have never predicted that this ad revenue would have, been able to keep going for so long. I was always super skeptical that ad revenue would fizzle out. Now it's more competitive than ever. People will put so much money into making content. To me, I was always trying to, what's the saying? I want to spend $10,000 to make $100,000, not to spend $100,000 to make $110,000. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of always how my approach has been to content. The idea of sinking a ton of money into this. I mean, it has its upsides, right? You could have made a lot of money doing it. So, but at the end of the day, it's still a passion, and I try to do what I like versus you could probably tell if you really know me and have hung out with me a little bit or have been watching for many years, even if you're not always on every single video, when I'm making algorithm content. And it's like, it's some of those videos that are successful, and right off the bat, it. Like when I made those fuzzy dice videos, I made a video with this. I'm literally milking algorithm. I honestly don't care if that's a good lure. I mean, I care a little bit, I guess, but it's not really where my brain's at. Literally, that's 100% algorithm. So, just saying. Well, those bluefish don't seem to want to show up for the rising tide. I was hoping, I got a Spanish mackerel, what was it, 2 weeks ago here? A lot of fish check out the Squidtrex. I'm looking on the sonar. They seem to show up. I'm also a little surprised we didn't get a single red drum on the Squidtrex. Good drift, but hey. I don't know about squid making it this far into the estuaries in North Carolina. Those guys up north get a lot of squid in some places. I've seen small squid and like speckled trout, more from the intracoastal waterway pretty often. Not too much in the tannic water. This might be hard to tell, but this is really green for here. This is the cleanest, some of the cleanest water I've ever seen around here. It's like green. It's got like a foot of visibility, that dark green, brownish water, I would say. Dare I say, it's pretty for here. All right, one more drift then. So yeah, we'll see what August fishing. I'm supposed to be up in the Adirondacks for a shoot with my buddy Nate for Field and Stream. So I'm supposed to do something there. And then I'm supposed to, I'm going to try to visit my parents. Hopefully there's no algae bloom on Cayuga Lake. There was such a bad algae bloom last year. I was up there in mid-July. Everything was this off turquoise color. Yeah, I didn't catch anything up there. So we'll see. Then hopefully, yeah. I think July and August, I think are going to be really good here this year. Unless we get some really turbulent weather with some extreme conditions of rain and, drought and all that. Not drought. We're already in a drought. If we get a big switch in the middle of summer to like heavy downpour thunderstorms daily, I think then we'll have like kind of a lousier summer fishing. But I think we're in the clear probably. We're going to need a lot of rain this summer here to really change the bite to make it kind of suck. I think for the most part, we are pretty good right now. Alright, let's do one last drift here. Oh, man, I was thinking, I'm just reminiscing. I think somewhere around 2018, when I just started fishing, there were so many big chopper blues, even into like June on some of these spots. We had a really weird year with chopper blues really coming far inshore. It was really cool, actually. Had a bite there. And keep trying these sheepshead lures, hoping something's going to get me a nice sheepshead, but I don't think it's going to happen today again. Got that little croaker hitting it. That's what that was, that little ding. Some years we'll get gray trout or weak fish this far up too, but it's not every year. I would say that's not that frequent. There's a massive school of bait under me though. Black sea bass are pretty rare this far up the estuaries. Usually, anywhere I see gar, I don't see black sea bass anymore. They have a pretty low tolerance of fresh water. But sometimes the gag grouper, it's been a few years, but I remember a couple of years ago, the gag grouper were pretty prevalent in some of these areas at the end of summer. They seem to tolerate fresh water better than the sea bass. I know the Goliaths can definitely tolerate some fresh water, like places in the Everglades, you know, there's definitely gar and stuff like that around, and then there's, yeah, the Goliaths can handle that. All right, I got one more drift in me. So that's a lot of the growth on the bottom. Look at that thing. It's kind of freaky. It looks like it's got a worm or like it's looking at an alien in there. All right, final drift. It's the final countdown. You ever watch that show? It's pretty good. It had its moments for sure. It wasn't so crazy about it. Arrested Development. There was a character named Job, and he used to come out to the song as the final countdown was his entrance music for his magician shows. It's like this old. If you don't know the final countdown, it's like this '80s power battle, almost like power metal, I guess. Yeah, it's a pretty ridiculous song. Ooh. I felt like something good. That one decent bite now is going to keep me out here for another 20 minutes. That's how it always goes. That felt like something pretty good. Final countdown. Wonder if we're gonna get a good amount of pompano this year too. Inshore, we might. I got a feeling we will. Hard to say with 100% confidence sometimes, but years where there's not much rain, it's when you can get a lot of the Florida species to come inshore. Usually our estuary is a little too murky, I'd say, for a really good run of like the Florida. I mean, We get the ladyfish pretty consistently, but like the jacks, it seems like the drier years you'll see them. Triple tail, he who should not be named, etc. Well, I mean, bait is probably number one, the most important thing, but you see more of all this, the fun stuff on the drier years in general. When it's really wet, I think the red drum guys like it better. Those years with more rain, I think it's more suitable for those red drum guys, because they'll be really predictable where they're at. It's a cool little lure, man. This Squidtrex, that is cool. I haven't seen spadefish inshore in a little while too. Some years we'll see the spadefish inshore too. They might be around this year. Gotta start looking at some piers and channel markers and stuff like that. The amount of stuff you always see on a sonar that you're always just wondering, what is that? Is that a stingray? Is that a shark? Sheepshead? Spadefish? Turtle? Because I definitely see, of all the stuff that shows up on a sonar that looks fishy, like it's something, I'd say for the most part you hook 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5 things I see on a sonar that I think I want to hook, I'll hook up with. Granted, you know, technology's changed. I gotta use this old Game Boy 2D sonar. No, nothing. That change of tide didn't seem to do anything good today. It's an interesting bite there. Definitely had 2 different bites than the drum. That wasn't a drum bite either. Maybe it was. I don't think it was. I mean, I think I've seen Rich catch sheepshead on the Squidtrexes too. I feel like I've seen him do it once or twice. I'm really surprised I haven't gotten a red drum on this thing though. I'm sure it's going to be the minute I say it, but like I was really worried about using that because red drummer. You know, they like all of that jewelry, right? They're into like some of that, those real fancy looking lures like that. I know the black drum will eat these. I've seen Rich catch black drum on these Squidtrexes though. Those Florida black drum are kind of different. Every strain's got its own behaviors. Like the Everglades black drum and the Everglades sheepshead far more aggressive than East Coast. Maybe that's an oyster toadfish. I felt like when I was trying to lift up just now. Really what I just thought I hooked. I think I just saw a cow-nosed ray, actually. Yeah, ladyfish, right? Ladyfish should be coming in any day now, too. Ladyfish, cow-nosed rays. Cow-nosed rays have been around. The other one I haven't caught in a long time here is North Carolina. We used to get, man, I've caught them once, gaff top sail cats, but I haven't caught a sail cat in a long time now. I'm okay with that one. It's one of the few fish I'm like, if I haven't caught a sail cat in years, that's okay. But yeah, I have caught sail cats in the past, and it's been a long time now. I'm okay with them never coming back. If they decide they're good coming into the estuaries. I see some places like Charleston gets a few of them still, and I'm like, oh, we're just outside the sail cat typical range. Sail cats, hardheads, all those saltwater catfish. No, I like the freshwater catfish much more. The problem is, I notice I just always pick up these barnacles jigging around with this thing here. Yeah, I had one really good bite on this thing. Don't know if it was a drum. Oh, this is the last, I swear this is the last drift. I said this is the last drift probably 3 times now. But this is actually the last drift. Ready to call it a day. Relax for 3 days, edit a bunch, make some short form slop. I wonder what kind of short form slop I can make. Make the short form slop. Post on TikTok. I'm on TikTok now. I have posted for a little bit. They did one of those creator rewards programs that they were trying to recruit people to TikTok from YouTube and other stuff. And paid us a little bit of money. I think it was $250. So I posted 14 videos there, and maybe another dozen and a half over the last 4 or 5 months. I don't know. I'm not really figuring out TikTok what the enjoyment is from. I mean, they're all, algorithm stuff, right? Had something on there, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, I did this TikTok thing, and I was like, hard place to make a living. That's what I noticed right away. And Facebook, I grew, but for whatever reason, they won't monetize me. So I'm just like, okay. Yeah, I'll just sit out here and make 4-hour videos, jigging this Squidtrex around until I catch something cool on it. I guess the red drum don't moved off for incoming. I don't know. We're going to get one eventually, I'm sure, as we're finishing out this drift. Beautiful day, man. Perfect amount of wind. A little bit of commercial traffic, but no recreational traffic. We're going sheepshead fishing, I'm sure, but in terms of just like, bros, broccoli-haired kids in boats and bros in boats, broats, I'm not seeing any of that, thankfully. I'm not going to see any broccoli hair. No NLBNs, no broccoli hair. No, the NLBN craze isn't so intense in the Carolinas. I do remember going to Florida though, and it was intense. The NLBN thing. In the Carolinas, every now and then somebody might have them, but I think the bluefish are too prevalent here that, I don't know, there's always somebody who could spend $100 on a day of getting skunked on artificial lures, but I think most people don't really throw too many soft plastics. For, red drum, a couple people, jig them. It's not very popular to jig red drum here. It's more of a mullet, soaking bait. Generally does get more of a following as to chunk your red drum. Doing it on artificials, it's less productive, right? And red drum is like, I'd say the big red drum stuff is really busy in the fall. In the spring it's inconsistent though, like this year is good, but a lot of years are pretty hit or miss with it, I'd say. But this year has been pretty good. So I just learned that this Squidtrex, I fouled up too much, etc. I learned. Didn't have the right assist hook apparently at home. And that's that. And I had like three bites on this thing. I missed one of them. Felt like a really nice fish of something. Almost like a flounder bite, maybe it was a red drum. I don't know. Those big red drum though, when they bite a little jig, they hit it hard, man. They have cruel intentions when they bite. Got this Jeff Bezos yacht coming at me. All right, come on. Yeah, it's crazy. Like even the little croakers and stuff like that, they just aren't biting on this new tide I've got here. I figured this was going to be the end of this bite too, for the most part. U-boats don't want to come where I'm sitting, man. I'm a little too shallow for these guys. You think the $1 million yacht has a war with the $10 million yacht? Like, I mean, get your $1 million boat out of my face. You think they have their little flex wars? I bet they do. Like the barely made it millionaire is probably despised by the guy who's got 5 million, 10 million or whatever it is. That guy's probably got over 10 million, honestly. But the guy who's got like $1 million boat, just a really nice boat, worked his whole life. Feels like me too, right? I don't have a tricked out kayak really. I mean, I got the EPDL here, but there's not too much, insanity going on with my kayak. I don't like over rigging my kayaks, nothing like that. I like my kayaks to be real simple. I am not a gadget guy. We don't have like 50 million Yak Attack attachments on here. So keep it super simple. Less things I have to maintain, the better. Yeah, that bite for the change of tide takes a long time, fellas, man. Now I'm thinking maybe I missed a gar. Freaking Jack Creval's not even crossing my mind anymore, that he's going to be showing up any minute now. Had my shot yesterday at him. That's fishing, right? See these channels, we try to, when these YouTube channels try to do something extraordinary, that's why I don't do too much of that specialized fishing anymore, right? Like to really settle in and try to catch a cobia, that's going to take me days. It's going to take days. And you might be out here all day waiting for cobia or whatever it is. But bluegill, pack my car at 5 a.m., get on the water 6:30. I'm going to catch a bluegill. I'm going to catch that bluegill. Right, you made it to the end. Somebody did, maybe. Probably not. Yeah, I had a pretty good day of fishing. Let me go clean up those sheepshead. I don't have that much ice left, and I came back out here for that intent of trying to see those jack crevalles again and being ready for them. Not being dismissive. Jaded fisherman that thinks he knows everything. Oh, those aren't anything I want to hook. Those are red drum. Those are sharks. Got to be ready. I'm going to troll a line back behind me. I doubt it's going to get bit, but if it gets bit, I'll turn the camera on. Otherwise, thanks for joining me on another really long day. 2 days. Catch up with you on the next video. A little bit of a 50-50 kind of day. I'm going to try to do half today with these artificial crabs, unless the bite's that great with them. And we've got real crabs behind us. So, it's not a challenge video. It's me winging it video. So, I'm just going to fish this crab on points, see if we get some grass line sheepshead. Oh, no idea. It's a 1/4 ounce. So I'm going to give the fake crab the benefit of the doubt most times and throw that first. It's a little bit of bait getting chased around. A little bit of life. Okay, drag's right. Bad hat. I'm getting a couple of bites down here. My depth finder's not working. I whacked my transducer today, so I'm doing this all by good old-fashioned feeling. So I did a couple of these videos last year with these fake crabs, right? I've been spamming them on TikTok. They're getting hundreds of thousands of views most of the times I post them on stupid TikTok. But from a fishing standpoint, I think they're kind of interesting because as close as you can get to kind of that ultralight feel. I'm using a heavier outfit than I might normally use for this sort of stuff because there were some big drum around here 2 weeks ago, and we had a cold front. There's a good chance we might see some really big reds by accident. You know, you can fish any of these collapsed banks with crabs. They'll always have a sheepshead or two usually. Sod bank is the term I used to hear growing up. But yeah, didn't get any more bites there. I think I ended up... The problem with these fake crabs, right? You get something small and trashy. I remember this last year, and they'll shove the whole thing down the hook. Goal is to catch a couple sheepshead crab eaters with this. Yeah, I mean, even if we just catch red drum, that's fine too. But I'm hoping we'll see the crab eaters. And I hope we don't get overheating issues with our camera today. It's supposed to be getting to the 90s today. That's why I hopped in the electric kayak, man. You would think I'd want to use the links for this sort of stuff, but one of the underappreciated benefits of an electric kayak is when it's really hot out. I came up with this new rule. I was telling my wife, I was like, man, I can't fish the manual kayaks after 85 degrees anymore. It's just too much. So that's the best sales pitch for an electric assisted kayak is when it's that hot, it's the way, man. Surprised we didn't get a flounder yet. Hasn't been too many pinfish around here just yet, so we've been spared of the pinfish trauma. Any day now. Some things are kind of late. It's been a really weird spring, as discussed in the previous videos. Oh man, is that a northern sea robin? Hell yeah, that's kind of cool, man. I don't think I've ever caught one this far up my estuary. It's not, it's nothing really to write home about. So that is the good old northern sea robin. They're kind of, I wouldn't say rare. They're just not your everyday bumping or encounter. Be really cool in an aquarium. These are really common in some places in the country, and they'll get up to about 12, 14 inches, Gannard. They're thorny. They taste okay. I would put them at, maybe around Drum's quality. I would say that. Not as good as like black sea bass, for example, or sheepshead, but they're definitely edible. I would say that. If you're hungry, you can eat them. I wouldn't say they're my top choice ever, but I would eat one if I had to. I'd eat one over a bluefish on a pan. They are pretty aggressive fish. Those sea robins in Europe, they call them Gannard, and well, they get to like 10, 15 pounds, so of course they're really popular food fish at that size. I think if our northern sea robins got to those size, it'd be a popular food fish too. Very low yield fish. I do remember that. Even like, a 2-3 pounder has nothing on them. Like a Spanish mackerel maybe jumped, or a bluefish, something. We had a little jumping activity. I'm just bouncing this crab along the bottom and getting. Didn't feel very large though. So many little ligaments for fish to grab onto and just like pull it down. We'll see. I'll drift it. As long as I got pretty nice tide, moving tide, I can fish this in a lot of areas. Using 20-pound test, which is heavier than I'd normally use for something like this, honestly. But like I said, we got those some of those red drum are still around probably. Oh my goodness, we actually got a fish. What is it? All right, one sea robin, one croaker. Not writing home about quality yet. But that might be that's all that's in this little zone, right? Pick a lot of these zones, they're not very consistent, right? Like most of my spots hold fish 1 out of 3 times, maybe 1 out of 4, I don't know, something like that. Just not crazy often. So it's always nice when you get a couple fish, but I would say most times, yeah, they're probably not going to give you much. And these little croakers love this thing, I guess. All right, I'm gonna drop one fiddler crab, and we gotta move on. Is that gonna end the great experiment? He's got my crab. That's an expensive crab lure, man. He might end up being. I didn't think I was gonna need my bluegill pliers with me today. All right, what I'm going to do here, since I had a bunch of these little trash bites like this, I'm going to just put a nice glop of crazy glue on here. I listened to you. I remembered, I finally put some crazy glue in the kayak. But I'm sure they come with some crazy glue out of the factory, but that should do it. This way, the next few bites, this doesn't happen. Now, am I rigging it upside down or the right way? I gotta go this way. Golly, I can't rig these little baits anymore. I've been doing it for too long. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. How can I not do this? Why are my hands not steady? All right, good. I was worried the crazy glue would start drying. Okay, that should help. All right, I got this big old fiddler crab behind my kayak. Got a bucket of those things there. All right, let's see what we catch. I'm not going to crack any shells. There's too much junk fish here, so maybe we can get lucky with a sheepshead showing some dominance here. So, caught 3 fish on that little crab, but nothing was the right stuff. So, if the real crab does anything here, local sheepshead should be active. Like even if there isn't fresh migratory fish, there should be those, 10 to 18 inch fish, pretty abundant now. But yeah, all right. I think that was a fair comparison. Now I cracked the shell. That's the big difference I just made there. See if that does anything different, and then we're going to keep moving. There's a lot of small fish here, so might be all I need to see. All right, I'm getting cleaned off by little croakers. All right, well, let's see if we can get an hour out here of something. Got no electronics, so I'm gonna do this by feel. How's the current moving? What kind of my structure? I mean, I've fished this before, not many times, but enough to say, I think I could do this. No, that's bad. All right, might be able to fish for an hour pretty comfortably here if we don't get any storms or anything like that. It's gonna be hard. I can tell there's a lot of life. Some of this deeper stuff. Man, slow. Yeah, I got a bite at least. Sheepshead for sure. Little guy. Sheepshead are hard. I think I found some actively feeding fish at least. Sheeper peeper. Okay. First one. Decent fish. How fat he is. No, don't poke me, don't poke me. Oh, we're gonna put this guy back, but we got our first fish. Oh my goodness. What a journey to get a bite. Okay, found life. Part day 1. I found a life. Oh my goodness. It took me forever today. Usually this part of the tide's, you know. Man, that was a big fish, whatever that was. Like a drum probably eating on the surface there. Let's see, is the lens fogged up from the heat? No, we're good, we're good. Let's catch some more. School bait coming at me. I feel like I should be ready for something there. All right. I got a school of fish on the surface coming at me. So I think we're just going to throw this little savage crab at them. See if they eat it. Could be a group of gar. It could be just bait if I'm... Who knows, I got to be a little quicker than whatever the heck I'm trying to do here. We're too slow either way. That's not a gator, is it? I don't think it is, but hey, let's try this. It's a shark. I think it's a shark. Looks like a couple of sharks to me. Jack crevalles. No way, no way. What's in the That was crazy to see. A school of giant jack crevalles cut through here. That wasn't on my bingo card. What to expect, perhaps. I'm just gonna sit here in case another school of them comes through. Dang, that was cool though. It was one of the cooler things I've seen here. Alright, I was just sitting here hoping they'll come up one more time. I don't think so. Alright. Well, what did I find? Not much. I went on a fetch quest, got run over by this. I didn't get run over by anything, rather. But yeah, I went on a fetch quest. Nothing doing. Let's see what we got. I'm looking for those jacks. I spent like 30 minutes trying to find them on the surface somewhere again, but they were just by random cruisers, man. I think I got a red drum on here, is my guess. Dropped a crab exactly where I hooked that sheepshead. I hooked whatever this is. It's a good sized fish. Right here. My cameras are not working properly. I just landed this big red. I was chasing those jacks around for a minute there. Oh no. Throw this lip gripper in the trash. Yeah, now I opened the camera door. Still having problems. But hey, can't have everything go the way you want it to sometimes, right? Okay, that's a red drum. There's been plenty. Well, let them go. Just gonna try to hold them out for a second, but these grippers are les trèches. Okay, I've got a drum at least. Let's see if we can find anything else there. Looks like a good little ledge right now. Okay, let's see if we can do that again. I'll show you exactly what we did. Just look at this little crab here. Damn, I can't believe this. That was my first school of jack crevalles group. I wouldn't even say that was a school. Group of, nice sized ones I've ever seen inshore. I've always heard it happens, but yeah, they were on the surface. I thought it was going to be sharks or just something dumb. It didn't even cross my mind I was going to see jacks today. Saltwater fishing this time of year, so you just got to be ready for anything. I think I just got a tide switch too. My electronics magically started working just now too, so. Got a little bite there, actually. Yeah, let's see. Sheepshead? Feels like it's another sheep. Pulled him. I think that was another sheepshead, if I had to guess. I wonder why nothing was biting earlier. Even these, I hate to say it, shiny oyster toads weren't biting that well early. Now everything seems to be moving around at least. It's nice. Fish are deep. This fish was in 26 feet. Damn, I wanted to catch one of those jack crevalles so bad. This one's staying real deep on me. Workout. No. Some smaller reds, actually. This guy's not as big as the last, a few were. It's good. It's good to see like mixed classes, like they're not all giants, for example. These ones fight a little harder, in my opinion, sometimes too. gunnels on this kayak are a little bit high. Doesn't make it that easy always to get them. Okay, good. Alrighty. Red drum. Let's see what else we can find out here and learn. This ledge usually sucks too. One good rainfall and this is definitely all over. Still pretty cool to see a red that deep. Put that little fiddler down. Let's see what happens. I guess I'll switch over to the regular blue crab, little tiny blue crab in a minute here. I can't believe I got to see the Jack Crevalles though. I know. That's like so exciting to me. It just breaks up the what you expect. You're always like, there's things I don't know for sure. There was a lot of red drum here, I think. I'm getting done and spun around. Literally what is going on here. Not easy. Not an easy task. I'm holding out hope to see these jacks again, man. Really am. Love to. Hook one, see one, whatever it is. Freaking sheepshead. Like a pretty big fish. Another sheep. Nice one, actually. Is this the same one I hooked earlier? No. Right? Maybe. No. Looks the same. I've caught the same sheepshead like 30 minutes apart in the past. He's just got that big belly. I'm thinking it might be. Oh, fiddler crabs, man. Almost time to try the savage crab, I think. Alright, I guess I got a sheep limit now, right? I think I'm on a limit now if I land this one. That's a really nice one. That's a really nice one, yeah. Gonna need the net on this one. Let's try jigging a couple. See if they're gonna bite the jigs after this. That's pretty good. It's got that lump. I just caught them with these weird lumps in them sometimes. It's a little weird. I'm 99% sure I chummed them in at this point, you know. Dropped enough crab part. Look at that lump there, like by the rib cage. I've seen that a few times. It's definitely like, a bit, It's weird, right? All right. Yeah, let me try one drift jigging that crab, see what happens. Old savage crab, here we go. It's gonna be hard because there is a bit of current, so. Maybe with some luck. Just gotta know how to set up on this drift, and that'll take a minute. We've got a heavier test on here than we normally would because our big drum around, as you saw. If I could jig them here, that'd be really cool. Not super optimistic I can. No, I don't think they're gonna eat the jig here. Not a terrible fantasy to try it though. They're a little too deep and there's a little too much cross current, I think. That's my take on that. Alright, that's alright though. You gotta learn. It's like at Slack there was like a weird cross current, so I couldn't really do it. I never really got a great opportunity at Slack today to do this. So what are you gonna do? Play with these gimmicks? Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. We can just try this little crazy shrimp lure though. At least I had a bite on that pretty quick. A couple bites actually on this. Keep the shrimp down at least. That other jig I couldn't keep down at all. Lots of things to take off all the ligaments on your shrimp lures though. I don't know what this is. This feels like a nice fish. Black drum. Nice. Glad to see a couple of those too. Nice. Okay. We got the black drum. That's the three crab eating slam. Black drum, sheepshead, red drum. Oh, Gaspergoo. Looks close to a Gaspergoo. Well, it's pretty productive now. Peak of the midday heat. Almost out of my fiddlers though, so it's gonna be interesting to see if we can catch them on anything else after that. I'm pretty sure I chummed these fish in though. Maybe not, I don't know. I feel like I did. There's something there. Got a little bite there. There's sheep. Whoa. That one's probably a short. Old regulations, that would have been a keeper. 14 inches. Maybe that was 14, honestly. All right, the last set of crabs. So. This little Quantum Strive, what do I think of it? I think it's a good value reel. It reminds me of like a pen battle. I like it. Good price too. Good reel for what you get, what you're paying for. Manages line really well. Not the best at casting, but for like dropping back behind your kayak like this, it does the trick. Clean me off. All right, let me try one last thing here then. I think this should work. I might use this footage in the future. Ooh, didn't croaker. A few small bites. Really good conditions for this today, but that is not working. Found a good rock right here. I'll do one more drift and I'm gonna get out of here. Try the Q8 super bait, see if that's gonna be the better deep water choice. All right. Seems like artificial's not doing it today. Ton of fish around here, but I ain't getting anything on artificial right now. Small bluefish, that's about it for artificial today. Okay. Looks like I got a little bit more to learn about fishing these sorts of zones than I might assume. Okay, I can't catch anything on artificial today. That's like a first. Some days artificial just sucks. Because what do we have? 2 reds, camera issues, 4 or 5 sheep, 1 black drum. Saw those crevalles, man. Now I know. Gotta get ready for those things. This current's a little too fast, I think, for a good artificial presentation on those sheeps, though. Till next time, friends. Till next time. Tried the Q8 super bait today, and I tried the Savage Crab today. And I gave the crab a good effort, man. It's got to be shallow. Seemed like a pretty good area. Didn't get much of a slack tide to try that thing for those chunks, but based on how regular fiddler crabs worked here, ledges, it seems like the shallow finesse stuff, it works good, but I don't think where I was today, it's the right move. Oh, it's kind of, just expanding. Pretty good bite though. Yeah, I just used a 1/2 ounce bottom sweeper today. Simple stuff. Fiddler crabs and a bottom sweeper. Nothing artificial. Those jacks, man. I wish I caught one. I do wish I caught one. I haven't seen them this far in the estuary before. Not that surprised, but just never. They're kind of rare around here. So I know you Florida guys watching here are like, and I've caught them in Florida and Alabama. Around here, it's like kind of a more special fish. Not in 2026, where everybody has seen everything, every day, everywhere. but I've only been fishing for here 8 years, for 100 days plus a year. I've never bumped into them up here. All right, let's drop this little Savage Gear crab down to the bottom. See if we can catch a couple of sheepshead. Oh, on the Savage crab. I think it's a big drum. 100%. Yeah. Yeah, it's a red. I was hoping for a sheep. It's the tiniest thing. That hook's not that good though on it. We'll see. You never know. There's a bunch there though. I saw there's definitely at least a half dozen fish there. He's gonna break me off though. There's no way. All right, take me back to the car. It's way too light. I was like, well, I was crossing my mind. I was like, I really don't want to be hooking the big reds on this little thing.
You mean like that?
Yeah. I don't know how I didn't open this hook up yet.
This is way more exciting for me than it is for you. You've caught like 500 of these things. I've caught like...
I want the black drum. That's what I want. So I want the black drum. That's what I'm always after. It's like the true novelty for me. I'm amazed how small of a bait these things mess with though. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. How would that hook not freaking open up? It's such a light hook. I think we got him. Come on. Big, man, big one. Big, big, big one. Really big drum. I can't believe I got it on that little Savage Gear crab. That's it. Crazy. This fish is fine. I can't believe you can catch that on those little things like that. Look at that fish, man. Just ate that freaking crab. I was like, when is this thing gonna open up? Definitely did. All right. Gosh, I can't believe I hooked that.